And I know that some of us here aren't necessarily big G Greens, but wanted to come and learn more and enjoy a good meal. So I'm really glad that you're here as well. I found out on my way here that, and some of you may know this, apparently Bill Graham stood up in the House of Commons today and resigned.
Yes.
Now, I didn't, this was, we knew that he wasn't going to run again, but he's now said, I'm out. I think, I didn't hear what he said. I heard a piece of it on my way here. So I don't know exactly what his reasons were or what he attributed to his reasons, but I know that I had the chance to have lunch with Bill a few months ago. Bill and I, those of you who followed the election or worked on my campaign last time know that Bill and I had a mutual respect. I think he would be comfortable with me describing it as a mutual respect. I always like to highlight there was a point that the St. Lawrence Market debate, he said the phrase, "I agree with Chris" 6 times, which was partly because he had to speak directly after me, so he was in a difficult position. But I think Bill was a good MP, and we had a conversation over lunch a few months ago, and he was very discouraged by this government. And it wasn't just because of their policies or what they stood for. It was because of the way in which they're going about it. And one of the hats that I wear within the Green Party is as the Democratic Reform Advocate on the Shadow Cabinet. And so one of the things I'm very interested in, for example, is the referendum on electoral reform that we're having in Ontario. If you don't know about that, find out on October 10th, we can vote yes or no on whether or not we want to adopt a voting system called mixed member proportional, which I personally think is a vast improvement. And so we're hopefully going to vote yes in Ontario on October 10th. But another thing I'm concerned with is good governance. In the Green Party, we call it democracy and good governance. And the Conservative government has the right to, the Conservative Party and Stephen Harper has the right to run in elections and win and advocate for the things that they believe in and implement them if they get elected. That's entirely legitimate. What's not legitimate is to try and circumvent the processes of Parliament and try and intentionally disrupt committees and try and disempower MPs and create a centralization of power within the Prime Minister's office amongst his unelected staff. That's not acceptable, and that's not his right to do that. I suspect, I would speculate, that that's maybe part of what was behind Bill Graham's resignation today, because when I spoke with him, he had never seen anything like this. And he's been in the House for a while, and the behavior, the decorum in the House, as Elizabeth knows, Elizabeth sits in the House of Commons and couldn't, you can't, as Elizabeth says, it's not rated PG. Like, your children can't watch Question Period, and that's a really sad statement for the state of our democracy. One of the things I did hear Bill say on the radio, which was interesting, on my way here, I just heard one little soundbite of his speech in the House of Commons today, and he said one of the reasons that he's resigning is that Toronto Centre does not need a voice of the past, they need a voice for the future. And it was well, thank you, Stephen. I mean, it was interesting to hear him say that, and if I can be a voice for the future, I would humbly take on that task. I feel a bit of a weight saying that, but I just wanted to let you know that the reason I'm running here, I've really come to my partner, my fiance Claire and I, live here, really have come to actually, for those of you, we don't even those of you who live here may not be, we don't think usually in terms of, I live in Toronto Centre, in terms of electoral boundaries. It's an extremely diverse riding. We go from the north in Rosedale, south in the Distillery District. There's the Gay Village. We were at a Pride Week event earlier today. The Distillery, I mentioned Distillery, Courttown, Cabbagetown, part of U of T, part of the Bay Street Corridor, what is known as the Garden District, the St. Lawrence Market area, St. Jamestown, Regent Park. So to go from, I mean, in terms of economic terms, to go from Rosedale to Regent Park in one riding is really something. And it's extremely, everyone who runs in this riding always says this, and it's true. It's really, it's a privilege to be able to run in such a diverse riding, and a riding that I really think would benefit so strongly from a green program, which above all focuses on the creation of strong local economies and communities and neighborhoods, which is what we have here in Toronto Centre, and what we need to build on and strengthen. And you look at, we're in the St. Lawrence Market area. This is an international model for social housing. It's being studied and replicated internationally. We haven't replicated it. We have so much knowledge and ability and potential here in this riding, and that's why I'm so excited to run. And to give you a bit of the lay of the, just from a political point of view, the Liberal candidate in this riding has nominated, his name is Bob Ray, and he is, well, you know, one of Bob's problems is that his name's, that happens sometimes. But I mean, I do tend to actually have a lot of respect for anyone who runs, and that includes Bob. And he's expected to win, and I'm sure he would make a good MP. But we need a holistic program. We need the right. Call for a voice for the future? I did hear a call for the voice for the future. That's right. And I wonder, yeah. What's going to be interesting is the number of Liberals who told me last time, you know what, I'm voting for Bill Graham. I don't usually vote for a Liberal, but Bill Graham is a great MP. There's going to be a number of Liberals who aren't necessarily going to be comfortable placing their vote with Bob Ray. There will be other people who want to vote for him for other reasons, and that's fine. But there's a number of Liberals there who are looking for a home. There's a number of Conservatives. My Conservative opponent, Mark Warner, is fond of pointing out that this riding was once held by a Conservative, and usually when the government's in power, it was held by Conservative MPs. He's forgetting that the riding was held by the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada. Mark assures me that he's a progressive, and I have no reason not to believe him, but his party is not. So I'm not sure why he's chosen to associate himself with his party. So there are a lot of Conservatives, there are a lot of progressive Conservatives looking for a home. And there are a lot of NDP supporters in this riding who tell me that, you know what, I really, and I know there are a few here tonight who say, I've supported the NDP. They'll even say, you know, I'm friends with Jack Layton, but right now, it feels like the NDP aren't being true to themselves, is how I would put it. That's what it seems to me. And I talk to a lot of NDP people who feel like maybe the NDP are not their party right now, and not really standing up for the values that they support. So they're looking to the Green Party, which is a party that is fiscally responsible, socially progressive, and concerned with ecological sanity. And that's how we explore it, and I'm so very proud to be a candidate for this party, to be a member of this party's shadow cabinet, and particularly under the leadership of Elizabeth May. It is so fantastic to finally be attacked. I mean, it's both, right? We're the only party that's up in the polls since the last election. We're doing very well. And there's people for the first time looking at us and looking at us critically, which is great. Because in my experience, if you look at all the parties, and you can say, I strongly convinced that if Elizabeth or if myself could sit down with every voter in this riding, we could win it. I mean, it's a matter of actually articulating to people what we stand for, and that's the challenge that we have. We may have it sooner than a general election here in Toronto Centre. We may have a by-election before that happens now that Bill Graham has resigned. So that's why I'm so happy to have all of you here, because this is the kind of support that it takes. And with your help, we can reach as many voters as we can. And when we actually talk to voters, then they end up getting very excited about what we actually propose and what our platform says, which Elizabeth is going to expand on later on. So I just wanted to say that, let you know a bit about myself and why I'm running, and let you know that I'm so thrilled to have you all here. So thank you very much.